Hey Rock Buds, it's Rock Papa here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I thought we'd talk about feldspars. We're going to talk about how feldspars form, where they form, and also the different kinds of feldspars, both in an informal way and a more formal kind of nomenclature, so to speak. So hope you like this video, so please subscribe, and thank you to all those wonderful folks who have subscribed to this channel. I appreciate you so much. So here we go. Feldspars. Earth's three most abundant elements are oxygen, silicon, and aluminum. When rocks are forming, these three elements get together to form an aluminum-silicate. Aluminum-silicates are the building blocks of all kinds of clays like kaolinite clay, the stuff that our toilets are made out of. Aluminum-silicates have a negative ionic charge, maybe just like the south end of a magnet. As igneous magmas cool, these negatively charged aluminum-silicates start looking around to pair up with a positively charged metal. And depending on what kind of metals are available in the magma, the aluminum-silicate will pair up with a potassium or a sodium or a calcium ion. When that happens, you get feldspar. So, what is a feldspar? A feldspar is a combination between a negatively charged aluminosilicate ion and a positively charged metal like potassium, sodium, and or calcium. When I talk about feldspars in my videos, I usually say potassium feldspar, sodium-rich feldspar, and calcium-rich feldspar. So let's look at some rocks that have these three general kinds of feldspar in them. This here is a rock that you probably know well. It is granite. And look at all that pink mineral in there. That pink mineral is potassium feldspar. Potassium feldspar is usually pinkish or orange or reddish when you find it in a rock. Sometimes it's white, but not as often. And here we have a rock called diorite. And those white mineral crystals there are sodium-rich feldspar. Sodium-rich feldspar is usually white when you see it in a rock. We're now looking at a hunk of gabbro. And those streaky, needly shaped, patchy white mineral crystals in the rock are calcium-rich feldspar. Here's just another view of calcium-rich feldspar showing how they can be patchy and ragged. Of course, you know, never say always, but I'm going to say that calcium-rich feldspar is always white when you see it in a rock. Now let's get into feldspars a little bit deeper. Geologists recognize two main groups or categories of feldspars: potassium feldspars and plagioclase feldspars. Potassium feldspars contain only potassium. Plagioclase feldspars contain only sodium or only calcium or some combination of sodium and calcium. Perhaps kind of sort of confusing. What does plagioclase mean? I have no idea. What does plagioclase mean? I have no idea. Albite at the top has only sodium in it, and anorthite on the bottom has only calcium. And in the very middle of this range, we have andesite, which has equal amounts of sodium and calcium. Plagioclase has more sodium than calcium, and labradorite has more calcium than sodium. Now get ready for a wacky mnemonic that will help you remember these 5 plagioclase feldspars. Albite, ollies, and Andes, Labrador, and or fight. I make no excuses for the absurdity of this mnemonic, but it does work. For me, anyway. Potassium feldspar is almost always found in felsic rocks. Albite can be found in both felsic and intermediate composition rocks. Oligoclase and andesite usually show up in intermediate composition rocks. And labradorite and anorthite are almost always found in mafic rocks. This info is pretty cool because if you can tell if a rock is felsic, that automatically tells you that the feldspar in it is probably going to be potassium feldspar and or albite. If you come across an intermediate composition rock like diorite, that automatically tells you that the feldspar in it is more than likely going to be oligoclase or andesite or a combination. And in dark mafic composition rocks like basalt, gabbro, and diabase, we're talking about labradorite and possibly anorthite. The 2 raggedy and rod-shaped calcium-rich feldspars. And here's some gaily colored charts that just reinforce this idea. As you will remember, felsic rocks are rocks that are high in quartz and low in iron and magnesium. Mafic rocks are low in quartz and high in iron and magnesium. Intermediate composition rocks have some quartz and some iron and magnesium in them. Okay guys, that's it for feldspars. Next time we're going to talk about metamorphism and what it does to feldspars and other rocks as well. And I'm going to kind of present my unique take on metamorphism that is going to help simplify it. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you did, then please subscribe. And this is your Rock Papa saying to all my most excellent rock buds, happy rock hunting. Papa out.